Hello friends, James Corbett here, CorbettReport.com. Story time. If you are a Canadian of a certain age, you will no doubt remember the 1993 federal election. Quite an eventful selection as far as statist sacraments of voting go, insofar as it represented the stunning defeat, the absolute slaughter of the then reigning Progressive Conservative Party that had won handy electoral victories under the reign of Brian Mulroney. But when the reins were handed off to Kim Campbell, who briefly became Canada's first and only female Prime Minister, well, the bottom fell out, and that election was a stunning rout for the BC party, but a stunning win for the Liberals under Jean Chrétien. And as I say, I'm sure if you're a Canadian of a certain age, you will remember that particular election. One of the interesting stories from that election, which you may remember, again, if you were a Canadian around at that time, is the story of the stunning turn that the PC party made as they were plunging in the polls and looking like they might not make it. They took a turn for the nasty. They took a page from the book of American electoral politics and started to post vicious attack ads against the Liberal Party, and specifically Liberal Party leader Jean Chrétien.
Is a Prime Minister? Does he understand that his plan to allow a deficit each year would increase our debt? How can he believe that you can kickstart a modern economy by fixing some roads? Why doesn't he answer the questions he's asked? Doesn't he understand the questions? Or the answers? Or both? Jean Chrétien, a Prime Minister? Think twice.
Okay, so maybe that needs a bit of context, because as far as modern electoral politics go, that is not exactly a stunning and vicious attack ad. But for 1993 and for Canada, that was beyond the pale. What an incredible low blow attack that was. Are we really turning to that? Are we descending into American electoral politics? Was the theme of the coverage of that particular electoral ad back in 1993, specifically because that particular ad was seen to be making fun of or drawing attention to the facial paralysis that was a result of Bell's palsy that Jean Chrétien suffered from, which gave him his distinctive way of speaking. And I'm sure we all remember various Chrétienisms, probably the most famous being, "For me, pepper, I put it on my plate." Again, if you're a Canadian of a certain age, you probably remember, "For me, pepper, I put it on my plate." But you might not remember that that particular quote comes from a question that he was asked by Nardwar, who was in disguise as a regular human being at that point. Anyway, sidebar. But yes, so that was seen as a really low blow, a beyond the pale. That how could the PCs do this? And you can go and watch, you can see the CBC coverage of that particular ad campaign, and the way it was really a national news story at that time, and there was a lot of discussion about it, and how disgusting that was, that type of low blow attack ad. And I recall this specifically because I was in junior high school at the time, and for my junior high school social studies class, the teacher assigned a task. We were to go out and draw, write, create an editorial cartoon like you'd see in the newspaper. So I decided, okay, what's popping in the news? Oh, this attack ad was the story of the moment when I was doing this assignment. So I did the one panel. It was just basically a newsreader, and you could see the kind of the still image from that ad next to him in the screen, next to him as the newsreader. And I can't remember exactly what it said, but the newsreader was saying something like, "And it's been discovered that the person who approved this Progressive Conservative Party ad was a Liberal Party member who had infiltrated the campaign," or something like that. And I handed that in, and I remember, to this day, that my teacher didn't get it. He thought, "Well, what? I don't even understand this. That was a Progressive Conservative ad making fun of Jean Chrétien, the leader of the Liberal Party. Why are you saying it would have been a Liberal infiltrating the PC campaign that did that ad? Which was interesting, because to me, it made perfect sense. That ad, what was the result of that ad? It was not that everyone thought, oh, Jean Chrétien is a horrible person. It's not that the PCs went up in the polls. No, the exact opposite. All of the coverage uniformly was, this is a bad thing. We cannot allow this to continue. This is horrible. Look at this low blow that the Conservative Party has sunk to. So, as a result, it occurred to me, well, what kind of person in the PC party would have approved this ad, would have thought this was a good idea, that this was going to be some sort of electoral success for them? No, clearly, this was some, liberal in disguise who had infiltrated the campaign and said, hey guys, you should run this type of ad. And we see from the coverage that resulted that it really was kind of a victory for the Liberals, because all of the coverage uniformly, as I say, was negative about the ad in the PC party. So I didn't literally really believe this. I just thought, oh, wouldn't it be funny if it turned out it was some liberal in disguise in the party campaign? And the funny thing to me about this, looking back, is that essentially this was my first false flag theory. As I say, I wasn't really positing it as an actual theory, but it was an idea. And my teacher literally could not wrap his head around that concept. Why would the Liberals want to make an ad attacking themselves? It doesn't make sense. Well, this is exactly the function of false flag anything, false flag terrorism or what have you, is to dress up and pretend you are someone else, attacking yourself even, in order to generate the sympathy response, which occurred to me naturally as a 13-year-old boy. I understood that concept. So perhaps an early indicator, in case the FBI is looking for early indicators of potential domestic terrorist / conspiracy theorizing, well, maybe that was an early indicator that I was on this path. So let me put the question out to all of you today. What was your early sign, if you had one, that you were on this path to discover things like the Corbett Report and to question official narratives? That may have been one of the points along the path for me, and I just wonder if anyone else out there had a similar experience. Well, that's the thought for the day for today. I hope you're enjoying this very hot, very sunny summer. James Corbett, CorbettReport.com.